What's up, YouTube? It's Christian Teen coming at you from the Midwest, and today I'll be interviewing my good friend Josiah on what's it like to be a Christian teen. So Josiah, tell us your testimony.
Well, when I was 9, I got in big trouble. So my parents took me to my room, and I was thinking, I was like, if I keep doing these bad things over and over again, I'll probably go to hell. So, we actually just learned in church that past weekend that about God forgiving us and stuff like that. So I asked God to forgive me that day, and ever since then, it's been pretty cool.
So is the only reason why you became a Christian so you want to go to hell?
I mean, that sounds like a great reason, honestly. But you also want to glorify God in everything you do. You don't just want to, for your own personal reasons. It's not what it's for. It's not why we're here. So
we're here for God's glory. So what's some examples of that in your life, maybe?
Well, every day I go to church. I love singing, and most of the time I do my best to listen to Christian music only. I mean, there's occasional secular music and stuff like that, which I'm okay with, but no cussing whatsoever. And
So why are you doing that, though? So people think you're a good person, or?
I do it so that other people will see that I'm different than normal people, or at least than people who don't follow God. And that will be like, hey, it might actually lead them up to asking me, hey, why do you act like this? And it gives me an opportunity to testify.
So maybe you would prefer to listen to secular music and stuff, but you're not doing it for you. You're now living for God.
Yeah.
To tell people about that so they can be forgiven as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are some struggles you may face as a Christian teen?
Well, a lot of times it's adversity, because if it's like the world's against you, but the cool thing about it is that you got God, and He will put you through any kind of test that you could think imaginable, but you will, if you persevere and you stay in the faith, then you will definitely make it through.
So what's some trials you face?
Well, there was this when I was in choir a while back. There was a lot. I don't think any of them were Christians at all. I was like the only one there. There was tons of cussing, a lot of inappropriate jokes, a lot of things going on. And one time I went to a trip with them to go to Italy, and just honestly being with them was really, really difficult. Trying to test me to be a better person than they were, or something along those lines. Yeah.
Can you be a better person by yourself?
Nope. I have to have God's help, because if I'm trying to do it by myself, I will fall away, and it's just not going to go very well.
So did those trials change you to be more Christ-like at all?
Yeah, they did. A lot of the times I would end up falling into sin, and it would lead me to realize that this is not what I want. I want something different, so I have to change.
So it gave you a different mindset.
Exactly.
So you go to public school, right?
This is my first and only year of public school.
So what's it like being Christian in a public school?
Well, I don't really know anybody there. Like, there's probably like 3 or 4 people, not including my siblings, that I know that go to the same high school as me. But other than that, it's interesting. What helps me though is I am very social. I can interact with people. It's completely okay. And but it also opens me up to more problems that might lead me into sin. So what I try and do is I just look back at the situation and try and decide, is this what I want to do, or should I not do it at all, kind of thing. But from a biblical perspective.
So what's a way you can decide if you should do it or not?
I usually try and think about WWJD, what would Jesus do, kind of thing.
So like compare it to what scriptures say, like what Jesus would do or what biblical principles are, and then try to obey the biblical principles. So you're not basing what your decision is on your own authority,
Exactly.
but the authority based off of the scripture.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what advice can you give other Christians?
Well, stay in the faith, absolutely. But also, probably one of the things that I think everybody should do is I think it's from Psalms or Proverbs. I don't remember exactly, but it's whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all for the glory of God. That's like
First
pretty
Corinthians.
much. Is it First Corinthians?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
10:31.
10. Yeah. I'm not exactly.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't really not good with those kind of things,
Yes.
but doing that's kind of been like my life motto, pretty much what I've been trying to do lately. So.
But I think it's important to point out, it doesn't matter if you're good at knowing, like, okay, it's in the exact verse, but you know this true space in Scripture, you know it's there, so you will apply it.
Yes.
Because it's more important to apply the verse than to, like, know, okay, it's an X, Y, and Z, because what's the point in knowing all this knowledge and stuff if you're not being wise and applying this knowledge?
Yes.
So it's not about us or what we know, it's about God and obeying Him.
Exactly.
So how do you live your life out as a Christian?
Well, I am doing like a one-on-one with a good friend of mine. His name's Sinjin. Every other week we'll go meet at like a Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Starbucks, or Panera, whatever, and we'll just honestly talk about what's going on in our lives. And then at the moment we're going through the book of Luke, which has actually been very helpful, a lot.
So for you, it's discipleship and being in the Word constantly.
Yeah.
So being disciple, which is a biblical principle, you can find that all across Scripture. How has that changed you, or has God changed you?
I haven't had, and I've never actually really had a true mentor ever. And this guy, Sinjin, was the first one I ever had. It was kind of like a role model other than my dad. So, I mean, my dad, great role model. I try my best to follow what he does, but it's better if it's someone that you don't know too well, kind of thing.
But you know he's a godly person.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as he's a godly you know that part, yeah, definitely.
So, if someone's not being discipled, would you recommend them as a godly person that they know to disciple them?
Absolutely. Especially if they're older.
Yeah, older men is probably, or at least more mature in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said in the Word, so what book of Bible would you recommend people to study?
Well, my all-time favorite is John, but probably a really good one to get into is the book of Acts.
Why Acts?
Well, it goes throughout the journey of Paul and like what he's gone through, like different cities and what he's done, and Paul is probably one of my favorite apostles.
Yeah, and you can see like the spread of the gospel and God's faithfulness.
It also shows on how much trouble Paul had to go through and how much adversity he went through just to spread the word, just to make sure people would go to heaven, just at all.
And it was for God's glory.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Josiah, for coming.
Anytime.
All right. If you like this video, please share, like, and subscribe. God bless.